Coming up this week on the center of it all, a new school year is right around the corner. We show you some ways students can stay safe on campus this year. And we continue our fitness journey with a workout that has you dancing like Beyonce. Mel cooks up a deliciously spicy meal, and we have a 2-year-old Beagle looking for a new family. Don't go anywhere, it's all coming up next right here on the center of it all. Welcome to the center of it all. We are joined in studio today by Gender Equity Program Director Jennifer Pensick, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about staying safe on campus this coming year. So Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So first things first, can you just start by telling us and the viewers what you guys do for Penn State campus?
We are a resource center that all students can come to. We provide free and confidential counseling and advocacy for students who are dealing with issues like sexual assault, relationship violence, stalking, body image concerns, really any issue that might be impacting students. We have people there who can help them, and it's all confidential, which is really important. But we also do a lot of educational programs throughout the year. So that's where the bulk of my work comes in, is doing a lot of outreach.
Can you tell me what it is that your education focuses on? Is it incoming freshmen? Is it just the student body in general?
It's really open to all students, but also just to the community too. So especially the first few weeks of the fall semester, we do a lot of programming with first-year seminars, because especially when we talk about things like sexual assault, that's actually a population of students that's really at risk. Because that's a population of students that honestly is targeted when it comes to sexual assault. So we try to just do a lot of programming in the first few weeks, talking about like what consent actually is, talking about how to support survivors, and also talking about bystander intervention, which is really important.
What are some things that students can do when they're on campus this year to kind of keep themselves safe?
I always say just kind of look out for each other, because I think there's a lot of attention on like what can people do to not be in certain situations, but I think that that kind of puts it on a potential victim like not to get hurt. So here are things you can do to not be hurt, when really I think we need to kind of talk about like not taking advantage of other people. Or if you see something that's going on and your gut telling you, is telling you that something's wrong, like step in and help that person. And there are a lot of things that people can do to do that and still be safe, but just kind of like paying attention to what's happening around you. And when you see someone that's about to be hurt, or you see someone and you just think the situation just seems kind of risky, just thinking about like what are some things that I can do to help someone out, even if I have no idea who they are.
So say that something does happen to a student, what are the first immediate steps that they should be taking right afterwards?
Yeah, I think it's really going to depend on who the person is, because not everyone's going to take the same steps. We always encourage people just to keep in mind that there's always support available for them. So a lot of things that we stress would include just finding out what your confidential resources are. So at Penn State, it would be the Gender Equity Center, Counseling and Psychological Services, and then also downtown, the Center County Women's Resource Center. And those are open to everyone, to all students. So I think just knowing that you don't have to take certain steps, because until someone's in that situation, they don't know exactly how they would react. But I think it's just important to kind of start thinking about and having conversations about what can I do if my roommate or if my friend tells me that something happened, like what's a way that I can react and be supportive.
Why would you encourage students to come to this center and to get educated about this, coming to you rather than just maybe going on the internet and Googling for themselves?
Well, as I'm sure people know, you go on the internet and you can type in anything and anything pops up, good, bad, and the ugly. You can certainly get more information online, but I think just knowing ahead of time and being proactive about what some different resources are can just be helpful. And it's not to get people scared, it's just to kind of just take proactive steps. What would you do if you heard that something had happened? Or what if you just want to get more information? Or even just what if you just want to get more involved, because we also have peer education groups. So if students just want to get more involved in prevention efforts, I think it's just important to know, especially on a campus this size, like what are the resources here? Where can I go to? What if I want to, get involved? What does that look like?
School year,
I think people can feel very lost here, so we're also trying to take steps to just make them feel
what are
a little
kind of
bit
some
more
upcoming
connected.
lectures you guys have scheduled for?
So our big evening speaker is Jessica Valenti, and she is coming September 11th at 6:30 in Heritage Hall in the Hub. She is a feminist author. She speaks, all around the country, and she's done a lot of work in empowerment and also in sexual assault prevention. So she would be a great speaker. And then we also have actually our office's kickoff celebration with our new name is the same day over in the Hub, and there'll be cake and speakers and all that kind of fun stuff. But we do have a pretty busy fall, so people even just check our website. There'll be a good list right there, and they can always just contact us for more information.
And what is that website for people watching if they want to get that information?
So it's studentaffairs.psu.edu/gender equity.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show today and talking about this
Thank you.
sensitive subject and just what students can do for this upcoming school year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
When we come back, we head out to the gym to do a little fitness class. Welcome back. We are at Penn State University, where in just a few weeks, this campus is going to be flooded with thousands of college students ready to start the new semester. Now, just because summer is ending, that doesn't mean your fitness journey has to. We check out a class that gets you a full body workout while you're dancing.
Dance Fusion I started, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, sort of in response to the sort of Zumba craze. But I had been teaching a class like that since the early 90s, where it was a mix of sort of choreographed routines and some kind of toning.
The class runs about 45 minutes, with 25 to 35 minutes focused on toning. And O'Hara does this through a number of different ways.
Try to mix that up to keep us fresh. So I'll do maybe bar, or we'll do weights, or we'll do bands, or we'll just do floor work. So we keep that. That's the part that changes a lot. The first part, people get to know the routines and they get to do them harder and harder, and that body memory can get their, the muscle memory can get their heart rate up.
It's all about listening to the music and working out to the rhythm while still having fun. And her music list contains more than just top 40 hits.
So some of these songs I think are totally old, but they're oldies but goodies, and we will cycle in a few oldies every class, so it's kind of fun. So, and sometimes I'll make a new routine to an old song.
But workouts don't change very often. O'Hara likes to keep a set of routines constant so that members feel comfortable, and then add a new song or workout here or there.
Do set routines that I have a repertoire of, and we sort of switch them out here and there. So I'll set up a playlist, and maybe I'll add new songs once a month.
And if pumping through a workout while listening to music is something you like to do, there are a few other classes you may want to give a try.
I think this class really pairs well with something like kickbox, because it requires a lot of coordination. And kickbox has, instead of maybe throwing your hands up in the air to raise the roof, you're throwing a punch. So it's kind of similar, I'd say. I'd also say people might like spinning, even though it's totally different. It's really music oriented.
You don't need to feel intimidated if you don't have any dance background at all and want to come to this class. After all, not even the instructor does.
I just really like to dance. I don't have much professional training, but I like to combine just sort of moves that I think are good fitness moves with dance moves that are easy to follow. So since I've been teaching these classes for a while, I kind of have a good sense of what people will be able to follow quickly, but are still complicated enough and feel enough like dance to work. I kind of work in intervals using that music so that we have, a kind of appropriate maybe interval workout through dance.
Everyone was welcoming, laughing, having a good time, and encouraging one another. And that's something O'Hara says makes this class great.
Energy from all the members, in the class. So we kind of feed off each other. Once we know a routine, we laugh because it's absurd that we're doing this and pretending we're J-Lo or Beyonce, so that's the best part.
So, what if you're interested in trying out this class but feel like you won't be able to keep up or you'll stand out? Here's a little piece of advice to get you making that first dance move.
It's something that if you just sort of realize that nobody's looking at you, which is true, they're looking at themselves or at me. Nobody really judges. It's a fun environment, and the thing about that class is you can start it really at a lower level and build as you gain some stamina.
For more information and a list of classes, visit eastcoastfit.com. When we come back, Mel gets our mouth watering with a spicy Mexican dish.
Enchiladas are one of those Tex-Mex specialties that taste a little different everywhere you eat them. For those who don't know, enchiladas are lightly fried corn tortillas that can be filled with an endless variety of fillings before being rolled up and baked. Join me right here at the stovetop this morning and watch while I make my kid and tailgate tested New Mexico style ground beef enchiladas. Put down that can of store-bought enchilada sauce. There's absolutely no reason to buy it unless you don't know how easy it is to make at home. The word enchilada comes from the word enchilar, which means to add chili pepper to. And New Mexico style enchilada sauce is a red-based sauce made from chili powder. I've got a 1-quart stock pot on the stove today, and it's a 1-quart saucepan actually, and I'm going to put this over medium-high heat, and I've got 2 tablespoons of oil added to it. I'm using avocado oil today, but feel free to use anything neutral, canola, vegetable, sunflower, whatever you like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk in 2 tablespoons of flour. And we're going to start by making a roux. Starting to brown up around the sides, get nice and bubbly. It's going to get very thick and pasty. And the reason we're letting this go with a full minute is what we want to do is we want to cook the taste of flour, that bland taste of flour out of it. We don't want to taste flour in our enchilada sauce. Really frothy now. Okay, this is looking really, really good here. Get in around the sides of this. It'll start turning just a little bit light brownish, which is great. Okay, now I'm going to turn this down way low, way low. And I'm going to add my spices. And I've got here 5 tablespoons of chili powder. And to that there's cumin, there's garlic powder, onion powder, there's sugar, salt, and black pepper. And that's a lot of spices going in there. And now we're just going to stir this. And the only word I can use is this is going to look really funky. It's going to be in real big pieces and big blotches. But we want to get all of that flavor incorporated into the flour. And now I'm going to add to this real slowly, 2 cups of beef broth. Now I'm adding beef broth today because I'm making ground beef enchiladas. If I were making chicken enchiladas, I'd be adding chicken broth. If I were making seafood enchiladas, I'd be adding vegetable stock. And one last item, a tablespoon of white vinegar to give it its classic vinegary tang. Now this is going to come to a simmer and it's going to cook for about 10 minutes until it's thickened up. Okay, this has been on about 12 minutes. It's reduced a little. It's really nice and thick and smooth, and it's that rich brown, beautiful color that you want, not that bright red stuff in the can. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to pour this right in here. I should end up with about 1.5 cups. I'm going to set this to the side to cool, and it's time to make our beef filling. To make my ground beef filling, I'm starting with 3 pounds of lean 90-10 ground meat in a nice shallow saute pan. And I'm going to add my spices, cumin, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, the same basic things that I put in my enchilada sauce. and I'm going to add 12 ounces, that's about 2 onions, lots of onions, to my meat mixture. I'm going to put it over medium-high heat, and I'm going to cook this, stirring it pretty often, pretty frequently, until it's cooked through and there's almost no liquid left in the bottom of the pan, regulating the heat so the meat stays moist and juicy and doesn't brown. We want the meat nice and juicy and steamy. But this is going to take me about 15 or 20 minutes. This has been about 20 minutes and it is cooked perfectly, steaming hot. It's hard to get a camera angle on that, but there's almost no liquid left in the bottom of that pan, just a little coating. And now what we do, because you don't want to cook these, I'm turning off the heat and I'm adding a full 16 ounces of New Mexico's green chilies. And we're going to stir this together, get these thoroughly incorporated. I'm going to put a lid on this, set it to the back of the stove, and we're going to fry our corn tortillas. I'm starting with an 8-inch skillet non-stick on my stovetop. I'm putting it over medium-high heat, and I'm going to fry my corn tortillas, but I'm going to lightly fry them. I don't want to brown them, but a corn tortilla as is, it'll crack if you turn it. You want to cook these just to make them soft and pliable so that they won't crack when you roll them up, and you want to do it to enhance their flavor. It's going to bring up the flavor of the corn in the tortillas. So I'm just going to put that in the skillet over medium-high heat, and I'm going to fry these on both sides, flipping them back a couple of times for about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes a piece. Now I've flipped this once or twice, and as you can see, it's starting to bubble up in random spots on both sides. That's exactly what we're looking for. The bubbles, the air bubbles. And keep flipping. You might flip it 3 or 4 times. That's exactly what you want. You're not looking to get this browned, but you can be able to smell the flavor of the corn. That's been about 1 minute. That's good. That's all we're looking for. Soft, pliable, aromatic. And I'm just going to repeat this with 11 more of them. I'm making 12 enchiladas today, and I'm just going to keep stacking them on a plate as I work. Well, I've set up my assembly line, and what I like to do is use 2 8 by 8 inch square pans instead of 1 13 by 9 inch pan to make 12 enchiladas. The extra space that I get, 16 inches instead of 13, means that 6 enchiladas will fit in each pan perfectly and they'll bake up beautifully. They won't be squeezed together to oblivion. And I'm going to just pick up a corn tortilla and I'm going to place it on the plate, and I'm going to paint it with enchilada sauce on both sides. And this is, your girls, you're going to get your fingertips all full of this red-brown sauce. Now originally in Mexico, the corn tortillas are dipped in the sauce, so it really soaks up a ton of the sauce. But my homemade sauce is so flavorful that I'm just giving it a nice light coating. And when enchiladas originated, they were sold in Mexico as simply unfilled. They were just dipped in sauce, rolled, and sold on the streets. So we've got a nice painting of enchilada sauce on there. And now I'm going to put 1/3 cup of filling, my real flavorful, I call it my beef, lots of onion and green chili enchilada filling, across the center of the enchilada, just like that. And I'm going to top it with about 2 tablespoons of, I'm using habanero cheddar to make them nice and spicy. Just pick up 2 sides, pull them together over the top. I'm going to grab it by the corners and I'm going to put it seam side down in this pan. And I'm just going to keep wrapping and rolling till all 12 of them are sitting side by side in both pans. I filled and rolled all 12 of my enchiladas and washed my hands too. I drizzled 1/2 cup of my enchilada sauce over the top of each pan, and I put 1 cup of grated habanero cheese over the top. I'm popping these in a 350-degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes, just until the filling's heated through and the cheese is all melted and bubbly, and then it's time to eat. Everybody has a favorite sauce or filling for their enchiladas. Some like it spicy, some like it mild. Some like ground beef, others like pork. Still others like chicken. That said, while you might prefer flour tortillas in a whole host of other Mexican dishes, if you're not making enchiladas with corn tortillas, you're not making enchiladas. And that's the whole enchilada. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
Welcome back to the center of it all. It's quick, it's easy, and it's extremely spicy. This week, Mel is showing us the whole enchilada. Let's take a look. We had leftover enchiladas for days at the station after that shoot, and I have to say they are just as good reheated. When we come back, we introduce you to a bouncing 2-year-old Beagle looking for his new family. Welcome back. This young pup is cute, friendly, and could be a great addition to your family this fall. Let's head over to Nittany Beagle Rescue and meet Skip.
Thanks, Alicia. I'm here with Skip from the Nittany Beagle Rescue. He's a 2-year-old male. He's been neutered and he's a really friendly pup. He's up to date on all his shots and everything. He's great with people and with kids and with other dogs, and he's good in the car. I think he might need a little bit of work on house training. You know, he might have an accident here and there, but he's responsive to attention and treats, so he'd be pretty easy to train. He's already pretty obedient as far as when you call him and trying to get his attention, so he's a good dog. He does like to jump, just to say hi, to be closer to you, so little kids he might knock over if they're not used to it, but he's not doing it maliciously. He just wants to say hi and give a kiss. And he likes grass, so he needs his greens, but we've had him a couple weeks now. He's at the kennel. He's in need of a foster or an adoption, and yeah, he's a good dog. He really likes attention.
If you'd like to adopt or foster Skip, visit NittanyBeagleRescue.org. That wraps up this week's Center of It All. Enjoy the last little bit of summer. Welcome back to school. I'll see you next time.